The modern world thinks it has tamed the shadows. It has repackaged evil. It calls them demons or negative energy. But long before these labels, older forces existed, things more primal, more insidious. They didn't just tempt your soul, they slowly unraveled your very existence. They were here first. They never truly left. My decades spent poring over forbidden texts taught me this. From arcane grimoires to hidden histories, from ancient scriptures to whispered lore, the deeper you dig, the closer you get to the core. A raw truth emerges, a truth about the nature of fear itself. It wasn't abstract in ancient times. It had substance, it had purpose. Most importantly, it had a name. The ancient Sumerians didn't theorize, they didn't debate, they documented these beings. These weren't mere ideas, they were forces capable of infecting the body, unraveling the mind, silently extinguishing life without a trace. Their prayers were not invitations. They were survival codes, etched into clay, carved into stone. Even then, survival was never guaranteed. Today we journey into these shadows. We confront spirits older than any known demon. They are far more insidious than most understand. Before magic learned to make sense of the invisible, these entities were already here, waiting. The echoes of agony, the Utuku. In the oldest tablets, one spirit returns again and again. The Utuku, never mentioned casually, always with caution. These were not passive shades, drifting in the background. The Utuku had form, they had structure, they had clear intention, some protected, most corrupted. They were autonomous fragments of suffering, not born in heaven, not spawned from hell. They formed from the collective anguish of cities, pain, hatred, grief, compounded until something took shape within that residue. Then it woke up. Many were forged through egregoras, thought forms, born from extreme human cruelty, war, enslavement, ritual violence. The more intense the emotion, the more defined the entity. The Utuku were not chaotic blobs. They had distinct roles. Some infected individuals, others spread like a fog, attaching to land, to memories, to bloodlines. Ancient texts reveal a dangerous truth. If you knew a spirit's true name, its vibrational signature, you could control it. This was not symbolic. The name was the pattern, the blueprint. That's why true names were guarded. To reveal one was to surrender power. The Sumerians called them those who seize man, and that is exactly what they did. Not with chains, with influence. They infiltrated silently, lodging into thoughts, distorting instinct, reshaping identity. Victims didn't scream. They drifted slowly into ruin. Imagine your thoughts. Are they truly yours, or are they echoes? Whispers from something ancient, something seeking to rewrite your very self. Consider how we process trauma today. We know it splinters the psyche. It creates internal fragments. These fragments can hijack our behavior. They can distort our perceptions. They can make us act against our own best interest. Is this so different from the Utuku? A manifestation of collective trauma, a shard of pain given malicious sentience. If you find this exploration unsettling, if it speaks to a part of you that recognizes these ancient truths, then you are on the right path. This is knowledge you won't find on mainstream channels. If you seek to understand the true architecture of reality and the unseen forces that shape it, then this channel is for you. Consider subscribing. Join a community of truth seekers, because the shadows we explore here are deeper than you can imagine. The silent intruder, the Aloo. Among the Utuku, one spirit stood out, the Aloo, a spirit of silence. It didn't speak. It didn't roar. It struck at night, always at the neck, not for blood, but for energy, for vulnerability. The Aloo wasn't a beast in the traditional sense. It was the absence of everything, a void that sat on your chest. It stole your will. Modern minds call it sleep paralysis. But to the Sumerians, it was a visitation, a direct encounter with the anti-being. What made it horrifying wasn't the paralysis itself. It was the feeling, the gnawing dread that something else was using your body while you watched, helpless. This isn't just a physical phenomenon. It's a profound spiritual invasion. That sensation of being watched, of a malevolent presence. It speaks to something deeper. The Aloo targets your sovereignty. It attacks your control over your own being. It seeks to break your will, to show you your utter powerlessness. It is a psychological weapon, a precursor to deeper infiltration. How many times have you woken frozen, with a weight on your chest, dismissed it as a dream? Or did a part of you know? Did a part of you feel the ancient presence? The Desert Seven, precision destruction. 7 others roamed the deserts, exiled Utuku, children of failed gods, spirits of dust and decay, each targeting a precise body part, the throat, the hands, the heart, never random, always surgical. They weren't chaotic, they were clinical. Pain wasn't a byproduct, it was the method. These desert spirits represent specialized forms of attack, a calculated dismantling. Think of the chronic illnesses that defy diagnosis, the sudden, inexplicable weaknesses, the loss of function in specific areas of your life. Is it merely coincidence, or is it a residue, an echo of these ancient surgical strikes? Over time, some Utuku evolved. They grew from whispers into manifestations. First came strange sounds, then blue fire, then claws, then masks. But the Utuku rarely revealed their true forms. They wore illusions, borrowed faces, twisted memories, archetypes designed to evoke fear. And when fear gave way to belief, they no longer needed to be seen. They acted through people, feeding on hate, on suffering, on division, creating the very conditions they thrived on. They are the architects of our societal discord, the whispers that turn neighbor against neighbor, the fuel for our endless conflicts. They are the unseen puppeteers, feeding on the chaos they sow. Unburied grief, the Adimu. Among all the spirits feared by the Sumerians, one was different, not for how it looked, but for how it didn't look. It had no face, no voice, no shape. It simply was. The Adimu, a hollow force, born from the oldest taboo, leaving the dead unburied. It wasn't a ghost, it was a rupture, a spiritual vacuum. When the body was denied its rest, when rites were ignored, something broke, and what emerged wasn't a spirit of vengeance, it was a symptom. At first, it was subtle, fatigue, confusion, sleeplessness, but soon came the fevers, hallucinations, the mental collapse. By then the Adimu had already embedded itself. It didn't possess, it infiltrated. It fed on negative emotion, amplifying sorrow, anxiety, rage, until the host unraveled. And worse, it moved room to room, soul to soul, even down bloodlines. Some families carried it for generations. Funerary feasts were held, not to honor the dead, but to bribe them into leaving. Sometimes it worked, other times it didn't, because the Adimu had forgotten how to leave. This isn't just ancient folklore, it's a profound teaching on unresolved trauma, on the weight of unspoken grief, on ancestral burdens. When we refuse to mourn, when we deny the dead their peace, we create a void, a vacuum, and something fills that space. It festers, it corrodes, it seeks expression through generations. The Adimu is the haunting manifestation of unacknowledged pain, the sorrow you carry, the family patterns of depression, the inexplicable anxiety. Are these merely psychological, or are they the slow, relentless work of an ancient, faceless presence? Lamashtu, the devourer of innocence. Then came Lamashtu. She didn't serve gods. She ignored them. She didn't wait for rituals. She broke them. Lamashtu wasn't summoned. She arrived, the lion-headed, clawed-fingered spirit. She fed not on souls, but on infants, the ancient bond between mother and child, desecrated, consumed. She didn't punish. She prayed. Where Moloch required altars, Lamashtu needed none. She took what she wanted, stealing newborns, poisoning mothers, driving madness into the household. In Mesopotamian magic, you didn't confront her. You couldn't. You invoked another entity, Azazel, or rather Azazu, just to push her away. She wasn't chaos for its own sake. She had a singular hunger to devour life before it could bloom, and her shadow lingers still, in folklore, in nightmares, in every unexplainable loss, the SIDS, the stillbirths, the infertility, the inexplicable tragedies that strike at the innocent. No one dares name it, but the ancient world knew. They knew the hunger. Lamashtu represents the most primal existential fear, the violation of creation itself, the loss that makes no sense. It shatters faith. It leaves you hollow. The Gallu, enforcers of inevitability. The Gallu weren't tricksters. They weren't corruptors. They were enforcers. Their purpose wasn't to haunt the living. It was to collect the dead. When someone tried to escape death's domain, the Gallu crossed over, not with rage, but with purpose, not as punishment, but as balance. They didn't run. They advanced, slow, relentless, inevitable, like time, like consequence. They didn't need prayers. They didn't hear them, because the Gallu served no gods. They served the law beneath the gods, the law of return. Think of those moments in life, when fate feels inescapable, when choices are removed, when the universe seems to close in. The Gallu embody this cold, impersonal justice. They are the agents of karma, the unyielding force that pulls you back to equilibrium. They represent the ultimate spiritual principle. What goes around, comes around. Your actions echo, your debts come due, and there is no escape from the balance sheet of existence. They are not evil in the traditional sense. They are the cosmic bill collectors, and when they come, you pay. Asag, the walking sickness. Asag wasn't a spirit. He was a plague. He was sickness personified. In myth, his presence alone made rivers boil, life decay. He didn't strike with weapons. He didn't need to. His existence was infection, his breath a curse. He moved with an army. Stone demons, carved from rock, animated by his toxic will. Where he walked, crops withered, water turned, flesh weakened. No ancient text dares describe him fully. They spoke around him, because Asag wasn't a creature you looked at. He was something you felt, then feared, then succumbed to. Asag is more than physical illness. He is the spirit of pervasive rot, of existential despair. He is the force that corrodes entire societies, the spirit of a land made barren, the illness of the soul that manifests physically. When you feel a sickness that goes beyond the body, a deep spiritual malaise, a sense of decay in the world around you, you are feeling the shadow of Asag. He is the personification of entropy, the force that breaks down all things. He is the ultimate despoiler, and his stone demons, they are the instruments, the agents of his toxic will, the unseen hand behind the famines, the pandemics, the widespread despair. Rabisu, spirits of erosion. Some spirits didn't scream or slash, they waited. The Rabisu are spirits of presence, of unseen presence. They live in corners, thresholds, between certainty and fear. They feed on anticipation, on the nervous energy of being watched. When no one is there, they don't strike, they wear you down. Over time, your trust erodes in yourself. In reality, that's their purpose, not possession, but corrosion. They don't destroy you suddenly. They slowly dismantle your sense of self. Think of the creeping paranoia, the constant doubt, the feeling that something is off. The Rabisu thrive in these spaces. They are the architects of subtle madness. They are the unseen guests in your home, the shadows in your peripheral vision. They are the reason you check the lock twice. They are the reason you question your own mind. They are the slow poison of skepticism, not healthy skepticism, but the kind that paralyzes, the kind that isolates, the kind that makes you lose faith in your own perception. They are not loud, they are insidious, and they are everywhere. Leelu and Lolitu, vampires of the psyche. Then there were Leelu and Lolitu, male and female, night spirits, lovers and leeches of the soul. They entered through dreams, never forcefully, always seductively. Leelu came to women, Lolitu more feared, visited men, beautiful, wild, untamed. They weren't demons of punishment. They were mirrors of desire. They didn't take blood. They took will, focus, clarity, center. The more you craved them, the more of yourself they consumed. Lolitu in particular terrified the priesthood. She had no god, no husband, no child. She was sovereign, and that sovereignty, free, feminine, fierce, it was labeled evil, branded Lilith, demonized not for what she did, but for who she refused to be. These are the succubi and incubi of ancient lore, but their power runs deeper than mere sexual fantasy. They are the spirits of obsession, of addiction, of the consuming desire that hollows you out. They promise ecstasy. They deliver emptiness. They drain your spiritual vitality. They make you dependent. The priesthood feared Lolitu, not because she was inherently evil, but because she represented an untamed power, a self-sovereignty that defied patriarchal control. This is a recurring theme in human history, the demonization of the truly free, the independent spirit, the one who bows to no external authority. These spirits still prey upon us, through our desires, through our addictions, through the empty pursuit of pleasure. They make us willing participants in our own slow unraveling. If these ancient insights resonate deeply within you, if you are drawn to the hidden truths that others shy away from, then I encourage you to explore the other videos on this channel. We have curated a powerful collection within our esoteric knowledges or demonologies playlist. You'll find a link to it in the pinned comment below. Continue your journey into the unseen. The unseen continuums. They never left. And maybe the most terrifying thing of all isn't how monstrous these spirits were, but how familiar they still feel. What the Sumerians called Utuku, we now call trauma. What they feared as Aloo, we call sleep paralysis. Lolitu becomes obsession, addiction, the ache of a love that hollowed us out. They never left. They evolved with us. Or maybe they were never separate to begin with. Maybe these spirits aren't just ancient beings, hiding in the dark. Maybe they're fragments of our psyche, splintered, repressed, personified in myth. So we could see what we don't want to understand. Every culture has them. Watchers in shadow, parasites of thought, seducers in the dark, entities that don't want your body, They want your will. They don't kill you instantly. They make you doubt yourself until you forget who you were. And that's the true danger. Not the curse, not the possession, but the slow erosion of meaning, the surrender of sovereignty, the moment you no longer remember where you end and where they begin. These spirits may be older than demons, but they teach something deeper, that evil doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it seduces, sometimes it waits for you to look away, so it can become you, and once it does, it no longer needs to haunt you, because it already lives inside. Reflect on these ancient truths. Consider what spirits means to you now. Have these concepts echoed in your own life? Tell me in the comments below. Let us begin a true dialogue on the hidden forces that shape our reality.